Welcome to KWO.
I'm a hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my way. I'm a hurricane, always on top of my game. I'm a hurricane, I'm trying to get in my way.
Hello and welcome to a new wrestling hangover. We've had a break. We calmed down the drinking over Christmas, and now we're back. Wrestle drunk for your entertainment. I'm your host, back steering the ship, Captain Charisma himself. I can't use that as copyright. Sorry, Christian. Matt Kimbo. And with me as always, it's the twat, Dale. Hi, Dale.
Permission to come aboard, Captain Cockwash.
Captain Cockwash. Wow.
It's a reference some people might get.
Wow.
If people have seen In-Betweeners, in which case I'm a big fan of them, then they will get it.
Oh, well done. Basically, if you like the one show Dale likes, you can be his friend now.
What do you mean, one show? I like Kevin and Stacey.
We're back with the traditional hangover format. 3 questions, an answer each. We'll probably talk about it a bit. And yeah, we're just going to dive straight in. So, how we're now doing the hangovers is Dale picks a question, I pick a question, we go to Reddit. So, the question Dale asked was, if you could build a faction from any company, full on forbidden door open policy, what's your faction? I think seeing it's your question, Dale, maybe you should answer first.
Oh, my pleasure. I came up with this question because I already had something in mind. I want a purely underrated graps faction. A pure struggle cuddle faction. Where good wrestlers just do good graps. The leader of this group would be Sir Brian Danielson. Because just look at him. Just look at all the cuddles he does. He's really good at them. He wasn't the one I originally had in mind as a leader. I wasn't really going to have him in the group. I was instead going to have like Kurt Angle as the leader and just kind of like trainer. But seeing the Brian Mox thing just makes me want Brian to now be the leader and train everyone. Next one is Drew Gulak, because the match Brian and Gulak had at Elimination Chamber 2020 is one of my favourite matches of all the times. It's just so good. And I've never had a match turn me over onto one person so much and just open my eyes how talented one individual can be. He'd just be such an excellent addition to a faction like this. Next up is Daniel Garcia, because he's possibly the hottest young prospect in wrestling. Possibly. In terms of pure graps, he's possibly the best thing coming through right now. He just puts on a show every single time. Then in a weird kind of... He does really good graps, but he has a different element to the whole thing. I'm going with don't call him Matt Riddle. It's just... There's just a lot of story elements we had there. With 3 straight-laced guys, then you've got Matt Riddle who's just there, being Riddle. Then we're going to add one more, Pete Dunne. Because I imagine just Pete Dunne in a faction, being led by Brian. Teaming with the likes of Gulak, with Daniel Garcia, with Riddle again. That's always a fun thing to go back to. How much fish could Bobby Fish fry, after all? That's my faction. It's the Cuddle Boys, and I'm a big fan of it. Oh, well, I forgot Chad Gable. There, 6, Chad Gable. Done.
Did you give your faction a name?
Yeah, Cuddle Boys.
The Cuddle Boys?
Yeah, the Cuddle Boys, yeah. It's hard to think of a faction that's not already been taken or that isn't shit.
That's fair. So, I decided to... I know people have mentioned this a lot, like, we really would like a new Nation of Domination that feels a little bit more racially sensitive. And they're not just the bad guys. So I've gone for a kind of a tweener Nation of Domination, which I know tweeners aren't the most popular thing, but I think as a tweener group, this group gets over. It doesn't work face or heel completely. So you need your main title guy, your mouthpiece, your top wrestler. And maybe this was a little bit inspired by Dynamite this week. But I've got Keith Lee. It's the kind of Farouk of the faction. I think he's made for a faction like this. Then I like to have a tag team in a faction, and your straight up tag team is you have the Acclaimed. I know, the heel, I know. But they get such a good reaction, I think they could easily tween them and it wouldn't be an issue. Like, people popped when they fucking bust out Ass Boys references on Dark the other week. So it just takes them tweaking their raps a little bit, and then their face. Like, it's Thugonomic Cena. It's easily done. Then, kind of your undercard guy, Lee Moriarty, I think, is kind of a straight-up grappler working under Keith to then maybe come through and push past him in, like, 2-3 years' time in a kind of Rocky Maivia kind of way. I like it. And you don't see enough women in factions. Like, intergender factions should be a bigger thing. So I've put Athena in there. Formerly known as Ember Moon. I just think she'd fit in really nicely. And I've called the group No Limit. If Tony Khan wants...
No.
I was about to say, if Tony Khan wants to buy the rights to No Limit, that would make this way better.
Listen, you can't seriously actually bring that to the UK.
You could tweak it.
What, the theme?
Yeah.
No. No. Because no matter what, you know exactly what English fans are going to sing.
I know.
You know exactly what's going to happen, no matter where you are. You could even go to Manchester and they're still going to fucking sing it.
Well, yeah, of course they'd sing it in Manchester. Both of them played there.
Yeah, but it's not for a bigger team there. It'd be interesting.
You're upsetting City fans nationwide there, though.
Yeah, I'm glad you said nationwide. It's fair to better than in Manchester alone, fucking world.
But yeah, I think it's a cool faction. I think Nation of Domination was a cool faction. So bringing something a bit less tribally and maybe, allow people to cheer for them would work quite well.
Honestly, when you said you're going to go for like a faction like that, I kind of expected an all-women's faction almost.
Oh, okay. I just think about it like an all-heel one with Cargill as being the Farouk of the group. It was the first thing I thought of.
Would you start with Smart Mark?
No, he's fucked off me.
Oh, why?
Because he's the worst part about a presentation.
But Matthew, he knows Virgil.
I don't give a shit. Do you know what? I'd bring Virgil to be her new Smart Mark.
No, he can't. He's not a lawyer.
He doesn't have to be a lawyer.
But he's not there to be the mouthpiece. He's there to be the lawyer.
He's there to be a butler.
No, he's there to be a lawyer. Because he's a lawyer.
Virgil will be a butler again. It'll be fine. So with that's our factions. Let us know which one did you prefer. Which one do you think is god awful?
God, boys.
And now it was time for my question. And following the experience that was the Royal Rumble 2022, I asked me and Dale to plan the skeleton of a WrestleMania card. This isn't a full 12, 15 match 2-night card. This is the base, like all your title matches and maybe a couple of big special matches. So yeah, I'll go first. I'm just going to work my way from non-title matches all the way up to Universal, probably in level of importance to WWE. So as my special matches, I've got Edge versus AJ Styles. I think it's something both men want. Might as well just give it to them. And Biggie versus Goldberg. Again, Biggie wants this match. Just let him kill Goldberg. Start a redemption tour for another title shot. Then, I didn't learn from WrestleMania last year. I've brought back the Women's Tag Team Title Gauntlet match, starring Queen Zelina and Carmella, the champions, defending in the gauntlet against the teams of Doudrop and Nikki Ash, the Bella Twins, the Boston Hug Connection, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler, and the Funkadactyls. Oh yeah, we're bringing them back. So how I'd kind of boot this match is I'd have Zelina and Mala have to come out first to defend. I'd have them lose immediately because it's been the worst title reign, I think, in the history of title reigns for any title ever. So I'd have them lose it probably to Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler, but then the Funkadactyls would beat them. Then Sonya and Shayna kill the Funkadactyls, and the heel team of Doudrop and Nikki Ash come out and win. Then you have Sasha Banks and Bayley come in midway through because you don't want them for the final pop. They take it off Doudrop and Nikki Ash. Then they beat Liv and Sarah Logan. Then the Bella Twins come out last to toxic boos, hatred reigning in, and the Boston Hug Connection win to be crowned Women's Tag Team Title champions for the third time, but the first time they've won it at WrestleMania, and that would be lovely. Then we have the Smackdown Tag Team Titles. I've put this in a ladder match because ladder matches are cool. The Usos defending against the New Day, Viking Raiders, and Los Lotharios. I'd have the Usos retain. I think that's the money. Because I don't see the point in another New Day title run. Viking Raiders shouldn't be winning ladder matches, and Los Lotharios, no one cares. The Raw Tag Team titles, I'd have a triple threat. Alpha Academy defending against the Street Profits and the Mysterios, and I'd have the Street Profits win. I'd probably have Dominic turn on Ray after the match. I'd probably have Ray eat the pin, Dominic turn on Ray. Or at least have it continue to boil over and maybe build towards that as a SummerSlam match. SmackDown Women's title. I don't want it. No, it's not. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda's going to win. Charlotte's won the title so often that she can eat the loss and no one cares. And Ronda is Ronda. Hopefully she's a bit more ready for a match by that point. I assume she will be. I imagine she'll be getting more in-ring ready between now and then. The Raw Women's title match, which I would have main event night one, would be Becky Lynch defending against Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Rhea Ripley. I think any of the four would win, and it'd be a cool moment. Probably you have Lynch lose for the first time in over 2 years. Something like that. Bianca had a moment last year, but she kind of needs to recapture it. So did Rhea. Asuka's never won at Mania. It'd be nice to give it to Asuka, wouldn't it? In fact, Sasha's never won at Mania. Oh, I'm giving people the first ones at Mania. This is the new story. I'm going to spin in Dove. Yeah, I'd have Asuka win for a first ever Mania win. It'd be cute. Intercontinental title match. I thought it'd be fun to have a triple threat between Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro, the former Artist Collective. I'd have Zayn retain. I'd have him win the title prior to Mania and then retain at Mania. I love Tony. but he doesn't need an IC title run. US title, I'd have Damian Priest defend against Kevin Owens and Austin Theory, and I'd use this as the time to crown Austin Theory, start his push up the card. I think he's been a shining light of Raw since he's come in. WWE title match, I would have Bobby Lashley drop the title to Matt Riddle. And then I'd probably start the breakup of RK Bro, like slowly unraveling. I wouldn't like hot shot into or RKO him out of nowhere. Like, there'd be a build. And finally, the Universal title match, Roman Reigns retaining in a triple threat against Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. There's just no point in taking the title off him. I understand it's a long reign and people are getting bored of it, but I don't see the point. There's no one there yet who's set up to take the title off him. I think Biggie at SummerSlam's the guy. But that's my opinion. Dale, what you got?
Yeah, first of all, very good, very good. My suggestion is Bron Breakker's going to win it at next year's Mania. Because what a better way to make a new star. But anyway, I'll enter into my bookings, starting with night numero uno, where I begin the show. Well, it goes on a pre-show, like, but the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It has a lot of people in it. I'm not going to name the people because I'll be here forever. But Amos wins it because it's Amos. Amos is cool. Let's give Amos a win. Let's give him a Mania Battle Royal win where he looks big and cool and big and big. He wins. Then the main show opens with Damian Priest versus AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. This is Austin Theory, very similar to your US title match. But I also have Austin Theory winning because it's a great way to start a show with a new young star. Priest at the minute, I hate the fucking direction he's going in. I hate the whole two sides and Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. Ooh, spooky. He looks like a fucking dickhead sometimes. And it's annoying. Because Priest is really fucking good and he's really cool. But no, instead let's make him look like a dickhead. He gets himself disqualified all the time. Because we're incompetent of fucking quality booking. Next match is Mallet and Zelina versus... I'm trying to think of a name for it, but I can't. Bailey and Shotzi Blackheart. New Franken team. Fuck it. Fuck it, why not? Why not? Let's bring back Face Bailey with her old face theme. And let's have some wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tank men. Why not? Why not? The wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men just burst up out of tanks. Then Bailey rides to the ring in a tank. How cool would that be? Bailey and Shotzi win. There's nothing to it. Matthew literally forced me into doing this match. I'm never going to forgive him for it. It's one of the worst acts against man. I've had to do it, and I've done it. The next match I've gone with is another I've got for a second women's match in a row. That have come with Ronda versus Sasha versus Charlotte in a SmackDown women's title match. Because it was supposed to be just Ronda versus Charlotte. But then I realised I hadn't put Sasha on the card. And I'm not sticking her in a Battle Royal. Because she's better than that. Edge is going in a Battle Royal. But I'm not sticking Sasha in a Battle Royal. So, this has just been a nice little match to have. Rousey's got to win. Because there's a long-term story there for next year's Mania. Against someone else, which I'll get to later. But Rousey wins this triple threat. I don't know how I've done it, but 2 women's triple threats in a row. A number 1 contenders match for night 2 for the Raw Women's title. Bianca versus Rhea versus Asuka. Asuka wins. This match just would be nice. It deserves all the time. With all the effort put into it. Just have Tyson Kidd on the phone just calling the entire match. Because he's great at this stuff. It's just been nice to see Asuka win at Mania. Because like you said, Matthew, she hasn't won at Mania. But I've changed that. I had that in mind. I considered all that. And let's just see where it goes. Then the main event of night 1, Brock Lesnar defeats Biggie to retain the WWE title. I want to start Biggie's redemption from this point, including at I don't know when. I'm just like WWE. I've got no long-term vision. He's going to have a redemption story. That's all that matters. Then, much like night 1, we'll start night 2, the pre-show women's battle royal, which is won by Sonya. Yeah. Then I'll open night 2 main show with Drew versus Sammy, the Intercontinental title. Drew squashes Sammy in 10 seconds because it's fun watching Sammy shout about conspiracy theories because Sammy's really good at this stuff. I feel bad for not having Sammy wrestle because Sammy's really good at wrestling. But Sammy's such a good, entertaining character. It'd just be so fun to watch the follow-up to this. Next match I have Seth and KO versus RK Bro versus Alpha Academy for the Raw Tag Team titles, which it'd be such a good match. You've got these three almost kind of Franken teams who, in their own right, are just so entertaining. Just in the ring, out of the ring. And there's so many different stories to be told. So many great matchups to have in the build up to Mania. It's such a good match. I'd pay a lot of money to watch this match alone. Just give them half an hour for just this match, please. I'd have Seth and KO win this because I want to see them go a lot further with their team. Like you said, continue the RK Bro splits, the slow split until Mania, where I have Matt Riddle have his coronation and Randy Orton turns on him and cashes in Money in the Bank. Because that would be cool. Then next match is Asuka versus Becky for the Raw Women's title. I'm one-upping you. You gave Asuka 1 win at Mania, I've given her 2. I'll have Asuka beat Becky for the Raw Women's title. This is so Becky gets away from the Raw Women's title scene for a bit. She'll have another couple of matches against Asuka. Then in the Superstar Shake-Up trademark copyright, she'll go over to SmackDown. She'll start her feud with Ronda. Then the next year's Mania, Becky beats Ronda clean. In the main event of wherever the next WrestleMania is. The next match is Usos versus Cesaro and Ricochet. This match would be so fun. This match would just be so fun. I'll have Cesaro and Ricochet win this because I feel like the Usos have nothing left in terms of being on SmackDown. They've beat everyone, so I feel like they kind of need to drop the belt for us. They're just going to go stale. Then in the main event, the Brock Roman unification match for the WWE and Universal title, and Roman wins all. Because you can't waste Roman losing the title on Brock. You can't waste on Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. You can't just drop it at any point. It's got to be done at a big show with a big build-up. And for me, that build-up will be Matt Riddle at SummerSlam. That's how I have Roman drop the belts. A few years after his big return, he drops the belt to Matt Riddle. Then Randy Orton immediately cashes in. That's my WrestleMania 38. I've definitely butchered some of the match organisations there. But hey.
I don't hate either of our cards. I don't like unifying the titles. That's the only bugbear I have of yours.
Yeah, I'm not entirely for it, but honestly, I feel like the Universal title has next to no one at the minute. So I feel like it might be the best way for now. Then I like the idea of Riddle being the one to top Roman at SummerSlam. Then Riddle being the undisputed, just WWE champion for 5 seconds.
You're Josh Alexander in Riddle. That's the best thing.
Yeah. Not only that, it's going to be the biggest surprise turn ever as well. It's like, I'm not even going to have like a slow split. I'm just gonna have Randy Orton cash in Money in the Bank, just like that.
Oh, you violent little bastard.
Honestly, it's just it makes sense. So it's Randy Orton. It's what he does.
Yeah. But now put him on 16 as well.
15, I think.
Ah, okay, so he's still one short.
Yeah, I think might even be too short. I don't know.
No, I know he's on at least 14, but I can't remember if he's on 14 or 15.
I thought he was having 13 or 14, to be honest.
He's getting to 17, mate, I'm telling you.
Honestly, I'd rather he beat it than Cena.
But yeah, I'd rather him beat than Cena. Orton's barely had any time off in the last 20 years. If anyone deserves that record, even though, as you've pointed out on plenty of occasions, it's a stupid record and it's a record no one should want.
No, it's dumb.
Roman's record is worth more than this record.
Yeah, but they're not going to go on about Roman's record in 5 years. That's all stupid. They'll make blanket mentions at it.
Yeah. It's like the punk reign. They'll talk occasionally about the punk reign. Though less so now.
Yeah. It's 434 days as champion in a modern era where hotshot booking is a hot thing to do.
Yeah.
It's stupid. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I hate it. Matthew, by the way, I hate it.
Speaking of things we dislike, the final question came from Reddit. I've tweaked it slightly. The question exactly was asked on r/AEW, which said, "Who on the roster who is over? You understand they're a good wrestler, but you just don't get them." I tweaked it to "Who in wrestling" because we ain't no AEW shills. Tony ain't paying us yet.
He's paying me with quality content now.
Is my selection from AEW? Yes, it is.
You're a fucking WWE mark. That's what you are. You're a stinky WWE shill. Fuck you. Get your fucking Vince's dick out of your mouth.
Right.
Dirty stinking mark.
Right, here's my issue. Who in WWE is over and good?
Honestly, you could have stopped at over.
Yeah. There's very few people who are over, and then the ones who are over and good are even less. And then I have to not be able to understand why they are over and good. Like, there's very few in WWE who reach that echelon. But my option, my choice was FTR. I get it. They're meant to be like this throwback to 80s, 90s wrestling.
Can I have a quick question before you go on?
Yeah, sure.
What about the theme?
I love the theme.
It's a banging theme.
The AEW theme's great. I enjoyed Say Yeah in WWE, to be fair. They've always had good themes. I just don't get them. Like, they preach pure tag team rules, then they cheat. So I get that that's kind of, like the hypocritical thing to do. Oh, the heels, of course, they're doing that, blah, blah, blah. But then they named the finisher after Brody Lee, and I'm like, how am I meant to boo the finisher when it's named Big Rig in honor of Brody? How am I meant to boo these guys when on Twitter they're the nicest fucking guys on the planet? Like, it's real difficult.
How can anyone boo Cash Wheeler when he punched a man in the head for attacking Bret Hart? Yeah,
this is it, man. They just seem like decent blokes. I enjoy the theme. I get in ring, they're very good. They are very, very good. They're never someone I'm going to be like, yeah, really like FTR. They have some good matches, but like, as we are recording this, the past Dynamite, them versus Punk and his mystery partner, won't spoil it for anyone who still hasn't watched it, was real good. But FTR still aren't over with me. I'm never going out of my way for an FTR match. Yeah, FTR's my option. Dill?
I think the reason FTR aren't that over with is because you weren't there for the rise of them in NXT, which I think most people are who get them. I thought that's what the divide always is. almost. Because it's like everyone acknowledges they are really good. But the difference between the connects and the disconnects are the people that went on the journey with them and saw the matches they had at the time with American Alpha, with DIY, with AOP. Seeing those matches is what kind of made people love FTR and still love FTR to this day, and understand their style of wrestling even more. But I feel like when you watch those matches in kind of hindsight, and you're just watching them now, it's like you can appreciate they're good, but they're not really tickling your fancy that much. It's a weird thing, but I think that's always what it is. I thought you've got that connection with someone a bit more when you see what they've done elsewhere, then you see them be mistreated in the same company. Then they go somewhere else and do some other good shit, but it's not as good as the other good shit they did. But you can't go back and enjoy the old shit as much because it's in the past, and you can't really have the same investment in it anymore.
So you're comparing how I don't connect with FTR to my complaints why people don't get Keith Lee.
Yeah,
because I saw the rise and the struggle of that beautiful, beautiful man.
yeah.
I will always pop harder for him than an AEW casual who's just tuned in and seen this big dude yeet a man fucking 20 foot in the air.
Yeah, it's like you don't have that same investment. I think that's more what it is. Because like you said, the appreciation's there for their abilities. It's just the investment that's not. For me, on the other hand, mine's a completely different answer. I've gone with Drew McIntyre. And it's nothing on Drew himself. It's his presentation post Heyman era of Raw. It's almost Super Cena-like. It's like he doesn't sell any injuries. He smiles losses off like it's nothing. It's just like it's those moments where Drew is Drew. It's fucking amazing. But when Drew turns into Cena, when he turns into Hogan, when he turns into that typical blue-eyed babyface that's there to be all white meat and smile and kiss babies, hugging fat girls, as Batista once said. It's shit, it's boring, it's overplayed, it's overdone. Every big face of WWE's been like that ever since New Millennium, pretty much. Ever since about 2005. The big babyface has been exactly that. It's like every edge and every bit of personality he gained under Heyman, he instantly lost as soon as Heyman went. He just turned into the big babyface. And had the same template of matches every month, every week. And it just bored me down. And it's to the point I don't care about Drew. But when Drew returned at the Rumble, I didn't know he was going to be in it. Didn't pop one bit. In fact, I felt disappointed. Because their presentation of it was just so lackluster. Like, why should I care? I got bored of Cena. I got bored of the babyface Roman. So why am I going to get invested in Drew now? When I was invested in Drew Galloway, I was invested in Drew McIntyre in NXT. I didn't enjoy his matches that much, but I still invested in Drew in NXT. I was invested in him when he got called up. I was invested in him when he turned face. But then the moment Heyman goes, there's every kind of element of quality storytelling. And it's genuinely disheartening to see such a talent be so poorly booked. It's not the fact I don't get it as much, it's just I don't get why people still love him as much as they do after everything WWE has done to seemingly damage him.
Yeah, I fully get what you're saying. Drew has been irreversibly damaged, I think. Especially by that kind of hot shot drop to Randy, get immediately back thing really didn't help. I think that was a nail for a lot of people. A final nail in the coffin for Drew.
Oh, I think the final nail was the Miz cash in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, honestly, I don't want to shit on the Miz. Because I'm not against Miz having a title reign, but they were 2 years too late. Like, remember when Miz was over as fuck in like 2019, 2020, when he was with Shane. Honestly, you could have pushed the button on him right there and right then, and yeah, he would have been a great champion because he was over as old fuck. He had everything going for him. He had a reality show coming. What better way would it have been than to have crowned him champion then? Well, it didn't really do it.
No, they've completely shut the bed with Miz as the main guy. Every time we've tried it, it's been incorrectly timed. Yeah, it's not been good. Not been good. But I think that's it. I don't think we've got anything else to say here.
Not that I can think of.
No. So, I'm going to pass these questions to you. If you could build a faction, who's in your faction? Let us know. Book some WrestleMania matches. What do you want at this year's WrestleMania? Do you even care?
Do you forget to put Edge in it like I did? I just stick him in the Battle Royal because I forgot to put him in the match.
But you'd even put Bobby Lashley in a match.
Oh shit, no, I didn't.
Fuck. As you were talking, I was like, he's not even fucking Lashley. Jesus Christ.
Oh, fuck. Oh, what a shit. Everyone who does a spear except for Roman is not God.
No spears. No spears allowed at Mania.
Yeah, I'm not even going to have Roman do a spear. He's just going to win with a fucking... whatever his thing is.
Avalanche Superman punch.
No, he's... I'm just going to call it Matt. I don't know why I can remember it's the ice pick. Because that's what Matt Hardy called it. Well, yeah, the ice pick. The fucking guillotine, that's the one. I remember it.
And who's a wrestler that you know is real good and real over, but you just don't get it? If your answer is Danhausen, you will be cursed.
If your answer is Keith Lee, I'll beat you up. If your answer is Malachi Black, I'll kick you in the face. If your answer is Jade Cargill, I'll fuck you up so hard. You're not entitled to opinions. Stop having them.
But yes, if you've liked this, we've done a few other of these hangovers that dotted around in our archive, which you can find on multiple places such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, and on the good old John's Podcast Network. Represent. Find us. Maybe listen to some other wrestling podcasts. There's a lot of interviews. People love interviews. Not us, because we don't like talking to other people apart from ourselves.
Honestly, I just don't like talking to you most of the time.
But for now, I have been the king of charisma, the mouth of the Midlands, Matt Kimbo, and I have been joined by the twat,
Dylan Housen.
And we will see you next time for
a very nice, very evil podcast.
Send monies.
And all the monies.
Sayonara.
Arrivederci. I didn't use Google Translate for that one.
I know. Proud of you.